My average
90?
speed was 170 something.
Jesus.
Wow, David's got big balls.
That means on the back straightaway at California Speedway because it's a 2-mile oval. Right?
Yeah.
Is it a 2-mile oval? 1 mile oval?
No, it might be a 2-mile oval.
I think it's a 2-mile oval.
Yeah.
So on the back straightaway, you're ballsing, man. You're going 200 plus.
You're listening to the Bent Motorsports Podcast with the owner of Bent Motorsports, David Beckett, and his crew, Jacob Hunsinger, James Hernandez, and Jake Russo. Listen in as the guys discuss all things motorsports, including tech tips and current shop projects.
Oh, it works. So
Now
welcome
you
to the Bent
botched it.
Motorsports Podcast,
No,
everyone. We're
I
back.
want to listen to it 56 times anyways.
Ooh, yeah, Russo, you do the intro
I
this
did
time.
it just now.
No, do it again.
Motorsports.
Do it again.
Welcome to the Bent Podcast Motorsports.
Oh, you blew
Yay.
it.
Yay, Russo.
Yay.
Yay, Russo.
That was so
I
nerve-wracking.
can tell it was your birthday recently because you're so much smarter now.
Thanks for saying happy birthday, James, you dick.
When was your birthday? Oh, I wasn't
Hey, nice
here.
shirt.
I know, it's North County
So worth it.
Depth Finders. I traded that gear for the 318 that is sitting in my driveway taking up space right now.
North County Depth Finders. What is that?
It's a spearfishing thing.
Oh, spearfishing thing?
And the freaking dude who I went out to, Hemet or wherever to pick up this
So where
318.
the fuck are you going to go spearfishing in Hemet?
He was a kind of a weird guy, and he was just like, yeah, I'll take $500 and some spearfishing gear, and I was like, okay.
$500 and spearfishing
Oh
gear?
no, it was $400. I think it was $400 in spearfishing gear.
That's cool.
All right, sounds like some shady deal. We'll move on from that.
And
So, any updates on projects? Anybody have any updates
Oh,
on their projects?
Russo, one of our listeners asked, what was you mentioned you got a fuel delivery system for your LS? What was that?
yeah,
Fuel pump?
it was from Summit Racing. You can get I think it's an AC Delco part, but it's basically a fuel filter regulator, and no, it's just those two. It's a fuel filter and a regulator combined, but it's like $80 on Amazon, or you can get this whole kit that comes with the MSD.
Did you get that on
pump.
Summit?
Yeah, I got it on Summit, and it
Check
came
out
with.
Jegs. Why would you pick Summit over Jegs?
I don't know.
Okay.
That's a whole other show.
Just curious.
That's another show.
All right, fine. Chill
But
out.
it was it was a pretty solid kit. I think it was 174 or something like that for everything, and it gave you all the AN fittings. It gave you an MSD fuel pump, the fuel pressure
Okay,
regulator and filter. So it was a pretty solid deal, I think.
sick.
And it runs at what the LS needs, which is like 62 psi or 59 psi or something like that. So
All right.
it's we'll see if it works. Hopefully
We're
it
going to
does.
fact check all that for you folks later.
for sure.
Yeah.
62 PSI. I'm making notes right now.
Mhm.
Russo, 62 PSI. Got it.
I guess the other standard's what, like a Walboro?
Yeah, which I mean, you could part everything together and get the same stuff, but this one, the regulator's doing all that for you. I'm sure any pump you put on it is good.
And we're talking about a external frame rail mounted style
Yeah,
pump,
it's an external.
not an internal.
Yeah, it's an external pump. Everything's all external, and it's I don't know. It seems pretty nice.
So
What
does
I've
your tank that came in that BMW, that car was already fuel injected, right? So
It was
already
already
has a return line?
already fuel injected. It already has a return line, but apparently this is a returnless system. So basically, you have your pump right by the tank, like a couple feet away from it, and then it goes to the fuel filter. Which on my old car, it went up to the engine, and then there was a return line that came all the way back to the tank. Where this one's a returnless system, so it's going basically from the fuel tank to your fuel pump to the filter, which has a return on it, back to the tank, and then you just run one line all the way up, which is, I don't know, I guess it's a pretty cool setup. The part number for that kit is 910-12805.
Check it out.
That's on Speedway.
That's what
So-
Russo's using,
Speedway.
everybody.
Yeah, it was on Speedway. So it was $179.99, and I think I had a discount code for something. So
Any other updates on your project?
I've been waiting for you to ask me that for a long time now.
I
So
can tell he's squirming in his seat.
yesterday I was working for Martin at Monster Miata, and we were talking about, after I got my work done, I was sitting there and we were talking about other projects he has going on, and he points out a LS2 that he has all taken apart right now for a customer's car, and he has factory manifolds sitting there, and these are the manifolds that they use for their LS swap kits. and they are off. Should I tell them what it's off of, or should I wait and monopolize it?
Tell them.
Yeah, it was from the Pontiac G8, and they're just I ended up grabbing them, and he takes off like the stock heat shield and grinds them down, and then he also gets them ceramic coated. So they look really nice, and I was looking at them and I was like, oh my god, I need to go try these things on. So I grabbed one of them, ran over, and it was like really, really close, but I still had like power steering pump and stuff like that in the way. So I was like, all right, cool. Next day I came in, like tried it on again, and everything fits like pretty much damn near perfect. So
And you put them on
reverse,
backwards, left to
yeah,
right,
so
right to
they're-
left, so that the collectors are at the front of the engine now.
Yeah, so it's gonna go down and then under the subframe.
Do you have to do like port matching, or do they match up perfectly?
No, dude, they're actually, so my motor's a 5.7, and
No,
these
I mean like.
Well, you got to
because-
remember on these heads will mount on either side of the car.
God.
So depending
Yeah.
on, so it doesn't matter. They're going to be,
Oh, okay.
you know what I
yeah.
mean?
Yeah, no, I understand what
Because
you're
if you
saying.
take the whole driver's side one off with the manifold on it and put it on the passenger side, it'll bolt right up.
Okay.
And now it's facing the right direction.
Yeah, because
All
a
right.
lot of guys
It's a
with
good thing about the Chevrolets.
a lot of guys that put these things into buggies, they're putting everything backwards and stuff like that. So
Right.
cool thing with this is my motor's a 5.7. These headers were off of a 6 liter or 6.2 liter, so they're gonna flow plenty of CFM,
Flow.
I guess you could say,
Yeah.
or exhaust
Air,
gas, whatever.
flow.
It's gonna flow.
They're gonna flow.
They're gonna
ready
flow
to
more than
flow.
they need to, and
You're gonna have heavy flow.
heavy flow
Yeah.
at
Always.
least numerous
Always.
times a month.
I went over there and checked it
Whatever
out.
you want.
Definitely, the problem side on Russo's project is the driver's side with the
Yeah.
with the steering box and everything.
German manufacturing.
and
German.
and with the engine with the motor in there, like set up the way it is, it looks like that's how it's supposed to work. It totally.
Yeah, it totally looks legit in there.
It
And then
does.
I think all you're going to do is an alternator relocation and
Yeah,
decide whether or
that
not
is-
you're going to delete the air conditioning, right?
That's kind of a bad part about this whole thing is that you do have to move the alternator to passenger side, basically where the head is, like right in front of the head is where the
Or
thing's
with
gotta go.
all the money you're saving, not making custom headers, you can buy a nice March Performance belt kit
serpentine
that relocates
assembly.
everything nice and high like in a hot
Yeah,
rod.
yeah.
And yay,
That'd be kind of
Yeah.
wicked.
Why do they
So-
do that in a hot rod?
I just
because
can't.
it's badass.
And they're all chrome or black, and it looks cool.
Shut up.
Whoa!
Why
Shut
is
your
it
mouth.
sky blue?
Everything is on hot rods is just
Because
'Cause
God
it
loves
looks
the
good.
infantry.
the other.
Stupid.
The other cool thing is I was probably about 2 days away from buying a full do-it-yourselfer header builder kit and starting that whole project, and I found these and I went
You were-
online.
Wait, no. You were 2 days or 2 weeks away?
2 days.
Okay, because you've been looking at these fucking kits for like 3 months.
No,
now.
but I was
Yeah.
waiting to
I'm
get paid, and
super
I was
close, bro. I'm
Yeah.
almost there.
I was researching.
almost there.
I was researching, and then like that came up, and I went on eBay that night and found a set for $100. Offered the guy 70, and I think it was like $15 for shipping.
well. Look, hey, this is a good argument for all you procrastinators out there.
Sometimes.
Sometimes it pans
pays
out.
off. Because I would have just spent $300 on header builder parts, and all of a sudden, oh wait, those kind of
Now you
fit
can spend $300 on
elsewhere. Well, I mean, I still
March
got to get
Performance pulley
them.
relocation
Yeah.
kit.
Oh, dang. It's almost tax.
All right, so that's good. So almost tax day.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got 3 days.
I'm killing it.
Except for that. Wait, does it fall on a Sunday? So is tax day actually tomorrow?
Tomorrow's Friday?
Tomorrow's Friday the 13th, and the 15th is the
Well,
deadline.
that means I can still turn them in tomorrow,
It's
right?
still the 17th.
They got to be postmarked by.
See, this is
15.
related to
TurboTax.
motorsports because when we get the returns,
We get to go to the
Buy
auction.
parts.
This is, oh, it is auction day tomorrow. So,
All right,
get
so
ready
no
for
other
some
up-
more stupid stuff tomorrow.
Yeah,
You
no
can
other
buy it.
updates on projects.
That's
James, you're
pretty
still
much my
you're
project.
still chilling, collecting parts.
Oh,
got to sell the Beamers. If anybody knows somebody who wants to buy some BMWs, I'm up front.
They're royal blue.
They're sexy blue, Mont
Nice.
Blanc blue. So,
I-
somebody buy these things so I can freaking build a rally car. Jeez Louise.
Jeez, people.
I did get a free car. That's a
Yeah,
big.
did we talk
update.
about that yet?
No,
Really?
no,
God.
I don't think so.
I don't think we did.
Really?
No, because
Okay,
that was probably like the day after the podcast.
The
Is-
day after the
is when I got the thing.
podcast.
All right. So tell us about your free car.
Yeah, so my
Somebody else got a free car that he's going to tell us about too.
Yeah,
You're keeping it right, driving around.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Run-
Hang on.
It's perfect.
Let's listen to Jake's Russo's free car.
Yeah. So I went to my buddy works at a restaurant. Went there. I was hanging out after hours when they were cleaning up, and one of the his manager that works there is like, "Oh, did anybody know how to return stuff on Amazon?" And I was like, "Yeah, dude, easy. Click like 2 buttons and it's done." And he was like, "Oh, I got an air filter for my Miata. Like, I need to return it. It's not the right size."
This thing.
He probably, yeah.
Does he sound like this? Because that's how you're representing him.
What an asshole.
And so I'm like,
Give me
"Oh,
back
dude, it's
my
easy."
free card, dick.
And my buddy that works there goes, "Why don't you just make it a monster Miata?" He was like, "Oh, dude, no, I'm super happy with my turbo. Like, it's all good, And I was like, "Oh, dude, I work for him every now and then, And he was like, "No way." He goes, "So you're like a master with these things?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, whatever."
Yeah,
of course.
Master.
And he goes, "Oh, dude, like I might have you do a bunch of work on that thing." And he was like, "Once I sell this other one, like I'll let you know and I'll bring it by." And I was like, "Well, what else do you have?" And he was like, "Oh, I have another Miata. It's just I think a head gasket's blown or whatever." He was like, "I'm trying to sell it for like $400 probably." So I was like, "Sweet." Like, well, what if I work off the car? He was like, "Yeah, dude, give me like $100 and the car's yours if you fix my car." So I was like, "Sweet." Ends up, I texted him that night to get some pictures of the thing, and he was like, "Dude, honestly, if you could fix my car, you could just have this thing." So James drove me down there that next morning, picked it up, drove it home, and it started kind of heating up on the way home. And then I got it back and fixed a bunch of stuff on it, and the thing is cherry now. I don't think it's a head gasket.
How much have you spent on it?
$31.
You're amazing.
So a $31 car.
Awesome.
And the thing runs like a top too. I mean, it's not the fastest thing in the world by any means, but
No, it's first gen Miata with this
with a
1.6 liter.
1.6 liter.
What about Jake? What about your free car? What'd you get?
I got a 97 Ford Explorer Eddie Bauer with the pleather. Oh, yeah.
Leather. Nice.
5.0. Just needed to swap out the radiator,
It's 4-wheel drive too, right?
Oh, it's all-wheel drive.
Oh, all-wheel drive.
Yeah,
My bad.
Way better.
All-wheel drive.
So
Matters.
it's pretty sweet. Need to get some new tires for it, but she runs.
And then and you're going to be driving that around. What are you into that one? You had to buy a radiator today.
$130 plus the radiator fluid and the trans fluid.
170, $200 maybe.
Oh, 170.
Yeah, so $170. So they're not exactly free. We got a $170 car and a $31 car.
Yeah.
But for
People-
119,000 miles works for me.
Yeah, mine has 220, so I guess that's
You
where
just
it's starting to
basically
get more
have
free.
to be able to concede that you don't care what people think about what you're driving.
Yeah.
And you can definitely get around. Anybody who says, "Oh, I can't afford a car." Yeah, I can't afford a car. I can't afford the car that I want.
Yeah,
but I can afford a car.
Yeah.
You can go get a car. They're all over the place.
you can buy a real cheap. You can be one of these people who buys it, runs in the ground, gives it to Ecology for $70, puts that to their next $200 car. Like, you can get a car.
Yeah, you can get around.
I've scrapped so many cars for $50. I can't even. I think I can 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 cars I've scrapped for like $50.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I definitely lost the farm on a lot of them. But
yeah,
That's all right.
it's one of my favorite stories. Is when my Explorer was crapping out, and I scrapped it for like $55. Then I went the next morning and bought my friend's breakfast at like a fancy brunch place with the money, and I was just like, "See you later, car." I had the car for so long too, and I was just like, "You just turned into biscuits and gravy for me and my friends."
I don't know. I guess what goes around comes around. I'm sure all of us have been kind of like
You
screwed
saying,
over
like,
on
you
Craigslist.
scrap cars, then people hate you or something?
No. Like
win some, you lose some.
like you got exactly. Win some, you lose some. You get rid of a car because you're in
lose
a
most.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
you get rid of a Ford. Was it Ranchero for?
Shut your mouth.
Yeah.
I didn't scrap that. You
No,
fuck.
you didn't. But you got rid of it prematurely. Kinda.
Yeah, I didn't know.
But that's what I'm saying. Like shit
yeah.
happens, and then also good shit happens. So
Yeah.
Well, also too, it's a lot to do with timing because
Oh, yeah.
when you've got certain things going on in your life, there are no options
You got
other
it.
than to sell.
Yeah.
So that's
Then that
happened
sucks,
several times
but-
with me. What else? What did you guys say we needed to talk about today?
Motorcycles.
no,
we're not talking about
We're
motorcycles.
going
Oh my
parking
gosh.
lot racing and or track racing.
Oh,
today.
parking lot. Okay, so what's it take to get going down at like Solo 2, SCCA parking lot, right? What do they call it? Autocross?
Autocross.
You can autocross anything you want.
Dude, we used to rent cars and go autocross them.
I'm down to do that. I gotta wait till next year. 25, right?
Yeah, you got to be 25 to
Yeah.
rent a car.
We should do
No,
that.
you don't. No, you don't.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, you do. 25 years old.
Oh, let me just rewind to last year where I rented a car like 4 times.
Where?
And did it. It doesn't matter. You can go to Enterprise or whatever. You just got to charge like $30 a day extra for a younger driver fee.
That's
Yeah.
I was 23 years
Well-
old. It was fine.
So yeah,
Stupid.
all you young kids out there, go rent cars and run them
Yeah.
to the ground.
You go shoot people in
Get the
another
max
country, or,
coverage?
you know,
Yeah.
you go drinking, but you can't rent a golf cart on Catalina. This is great.
Yeah, it seems like a good idea. Seems like a good idea. It doesn't take much to get into it. So I'd say there's probably you are either the guy who runs what you have, right? Whatever you happen to be driving, you've got a Ford Taurus, right? 1987 Ford Taurus. And you're like, I want autocross. So you go down there and you go, yeah, is there a class for my car? Yep, because there's a class for every freaking car. And they put you in your class and you race and you get used to it and you realize that there's no way this car is competitive in this class. And you say, oh, well, and you just keep going. Or you try to build that car into a competitive car in that class. Or like some of the veteran guys who've been out there running for years, there are guys out there who are buying a new car every single year. They're leasing cars, right? You get like a 2-year lease. So they'll lease a car for 2 years, run it in the SCCA autocross, and then 2 years is up, they turn in the lease, and they get a whole different car. And they're usually like class killer cars. Because what happens in the SCCA, or what used to happen when I was running in the SCCA, is that a new car comes out. For instance, one thing that happened to us back in the day, C-Stock. We ran C-Stock, and the Pontiac Solstice came out. And they classed it into C-Stock. Well, it was a class killer. Mm-hmm. So we had a car that we had been doing decently with in C-Stock and put a lot of money into making it run decently. And then here comes a stock Pontiac Solstice right out of the dealership.
That's that little, like little coupe looking thing.
Right, so they're like, yeah, it's perfect for C-Stock, right? Because it's like engine size. They do. I forget how they calculate it all. Wheelbase, engine size. There's different.
Pontiac Solstice.
Yeah.
There's different.
I was trying to think of which one that was.
So this thing comes out and right out of the gate, it's a class killer. We can't even keep up with the thing. So by the time you petition it and get it moved out of class, move it to where it belongs, like B-Stock.
It's a new year.
Well, whatever, man. I already got smoked this whole year. All my investment in this whole year of racing is shot. Mm-hmm. It's gone. So there's guys who go out there and they find these class killer cars and they go out and they dominate that class that year because they got their lease. Yeah, I get it, man. That's racing. That's cool, right? That's what they want to do.
I don't know. I don't think that's racing.
It's kind of a bummer deal, but it happens.
Oh man, I have such a problem with people who don't run like driver's class stuff. It's like, we just had all the money and we have all the power and like, I'm not even a good driver. I'm just sponsored drivers, like where you sponsor the team for your driver to drive. I'm just like, how did that ever become a thing?
So
Right.
think of it this way.
Because money.
Dave chose, well, you chose to drive the Spitfire, right?
My dad and I
Yeah.
chose to drive the Spitfire because it's what we had.
Yeah.
And then in the class that we were in at the time when we first started racing, it was a D street prepared. When he first brought it down there, my dad started bringing it down there. He had done way too many things to it, and it was put in the mod class. So he did things like unhot rodded it. He put bumpers back on it. He put windows back into the doors and the window cranks and all that stuff, and reverted it from being a street rod to a class prepared race car.
Yeah.
And we got put in D street prepared. And in D street prepared, it was decently competitive, but we had to spend a lot of money to make it really competitive. And then they got reclassed, and we were in F street prepared a few years later, and that was perfect for that car.
Yeah.
But guys would come in Honda Civics, or like the Volkswagen Scirocco's, and they would do very little work and could beat us. We had to spend a lot of money and do a lot of work to that car in order to make it win in that class. So you just have to ask yourself, if you're getting into this, how do you want to approach it? Do you want to just go get a 2-year lease, get a class killer car, go in there, boom, you're racing, you're winning? Do you we liked having an underdog car. We liked having a car that was outclassed and should not have by any means been winning any races, because it just made you feel a lot better. And I really liked the way the car drove, because that car was a very seat-of-the-pants driving car. I liked the rear-wheel drive. You know, I drove a few front-wheel drive cars out there, and it was not at all thrilling to me.
Yeah.
I know other guys it is, and that's cool, but to me, it just didn't do anything for me. So I really liked the seat-of-the-pants throwing a rear-wheel drive car around that was underpowered. You know, that you, in your brain, you're thinking, if I lift right now, I'm going to lose. I can't lift. I need to just grit my teeth and hope that it all works out at the end of this chicane, because I can't lift or I'm going to lose this lap. I mean, I would lose races by thousandths of seconds, and it was just, God, I shouldn't have lifted back there, you know?
Yeah.
So I think anybody who's getting into it, just go down there with what you've got, try it out, get used to it, and then decide where you want to go.
Yeah. It all depends. I mean, obviously, you guys chose to do that. You're spending X amount a month doing repairs, maintenance, whatever it means. And then this other guy's going straight to the dealership, probably paying the low price of like 29 or like $200 or $300 to lease a car, and he's going out and racing just the same as you are. So it's all. I mean, he could, I'm sure, go buy whatever it is, and go soup it up and get it ready to go. But at the end of the day, it's all what's in the budget. There's a way to do it on a budget for sure.
And parking lot racing is budget racing, man. That's where you start, and it's rad. And I suggest everybody do it. I think every kid who's getting a license needs to be brought down there by their parents and make them go through that and learn how to drive a car, because you get it out of your system, man. As a kid, I mean, I remember when I was 16 and got my license, there was no such thing as autocross in my brain. I had no knowledge that it was there, and I learned on the street. And when you learn on the street, you crash, and you subsequently total the first 5 cars you own. So
yes, it's such a good driver.
So you get a kid like my kids, dude. My kids, as soon as they're able to drive, we're going to autocross, man. And they're
you
gonna
have to have a
flog car
license
around.
to drive there, yeah.
You do. You have to have a license, yeah.
Okay.
Unless you're in the shifter carts, right? They have the junior carts, and they can run down there.
There was a kid that was at Laguna Seca when I went for the Miata thing there, and he was like 14 or something like that, and he was driving. So maybe there's like a special class that you have to go through. I don't know.
Yeah. So that's a closed course, right?
Gotcha.
And whatever that Laguna Seca's rule is, and if this kid has been through a driver training course and has a whatever class 1 racing license or whatever they call it these days, then he can just present that card, and they know he's got the hours, and it's up to the track to say, yep, we're going to let you do it.
He's good to go. Got it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of one of my ideas right now is once the LS thing gets done, obviously I'm driving the Miata because I don't have a car. Yeah. And I kind of wanted to avoid getting another car because it's just 2 registrations, 2 gas tanks. And so I think once the thing gets all said and done and my car's back on the road and I figure out all the little bugs, it's either I turn this little budget project that I got because it was free. And that was the thing, was I couldn't really pass it up because it was free, and I've always wanted a little shitbox Miata because, I don't know, it just seems like fun. What do you want to talk about, Jake? Go ahead.
That was Jake's sigh of...
So here's my question to you. That car is completely bone stock right now. What do I do, or what do you guys think I should do to get it to where I'm competitive?
Wait. Autocrossing the Miata?
Track days, autocrossing, whatever it may be.
Check the head
Well, that's
gasket.
2 very different things.
Yeah. Track days and autocross. So autocross cars are like, I could never take my Spitfire to. Some guys do. Some guys have their cars set up.
You were geared too low, right?
Oh yeah, dude. My car was a parking lot racing car. Period. The only way my car was going to be competitive was to go 110%. All the way down the rabbit hole to this is a parking lot racing car. I could not drive that car to the event.
Yeah.
Okay. It was the gearing and everything was just way, way too low. Some guys, their cars are fine. They're powerful enough to run an autocross and then go do a track day. And they're fine at both places. My car, there was no way that was going to happen.
Momentum?
Yeah. Momentum?
Your car was built on momentum, basically, or
my car was a torque
gearing
car.
Was just
It was all gearing. If he goes to Laguna Seca, like all the long straightaways, he's gonna be like 85,
like hitting the rev limiter.
You'll be lucky to hit 85. I think when my car was right now, there's a different transmission in it. Or sorry, there's an overdrive attached to it. But when we were racing it, I think the fastest my car would go, I think, was like 77 or something. Was the final.
Do you have like
number?
a 0 to 60 time or a 8th mile time? Any of that stuff?
I used to. We did the 8th mile drags down there once with it. And I don't think I got to the. I don't even think I got to the 77 miles per hour.
Killing it.
But I mean, the thing had a couple 100 foot-pounds of torque, but only 90 horsepower.
Yeah.
I didn't care about horsepower. I didn't need it.
The long tube headers and everything.
Yeah, I needed.
It's a sweet car. It's so fun to drive.
Yeah, it's rad to
real
drive.
fun to drive.
So I would say, so say you're going to build an autocross car, right?
Yeah, let's just go for autocross.
Forget about track day stuff. So autocross car, again, we're going to go all the way back to one of our first podcasts, which is gather your own data, right?
Yeah.
You can go out there and you can talk to all the Miata guys out there at the track. And if you did your own little spreadsheet and you had 6 questions that you asked these guys, what tire pressure do you run? What spring rates do you run?
Yeah.
What front end and rear end alignment settings do you run?
Yeah.
How stiff is your sway bar? You ask these same questions to all the 100 Miata guys that are out there, you're going to find a pattern of maybe some similarity,
Yeah.
but you're going to get a huge deviation of information from these
Personal
guys.
preference, man.
Yeah, everybody drives differently. Everybody likes the way their car handles differently, right?
Every car's set up different too. If you think about it, like
Right.
this guy's car is 100 pounds more than this guy's car because he never took out his, heater box or whatever it is.
Sure.
It's like
There's a
all
lot,
that
and a
stuff.
lot of guys are just going to give you bunk information because this is racing, and why would they? And as nice as the SCCA is, and as nice as Solo 2 is, and how it is a very family-oriented, friendly group of people out there, it doesn't mean that they're going to give you the answer.
Yeah.
You know, and
True.
by the end of the day, is we're racing for points, and even though there's no prize other than this little cheap piece of plastic trophy,
Yeah.
that you put on your desk at work, it's still racing for us. So I would say you just go out there. You go out there with the car that you have right now. If you've got street tires on, put as much air as you possibly can in the tires. Sounds counterproductive, but
I was gonna say, wait, why?
because on a parking lot, when you're running a regular old radial tire that's a street tire, it does a race tire. The sidewall on a race tire is massively strong.
Yeah.
It's made to be run with low air pressure and high lateral force. A street tire is not. So you go out there with 30 pounds in your street tire and you go around a corner and it makes that
It's gonna roll.
noise and it's
Yeah.
going to roll over and you're going to pop it off the bead
Sick.
every time.
Awesome.
So I always say pump them up to whatever the max the tire says it can. Like if it says max pressure 45 or max pressure 50, do it. Put it all the way up to the max.
Damn.
And run around out there on the track and just have fun and see what happens.
See, David knows.
And then
David freaking knows.
and then you can and then you can start going from there, and you can say, oh, I felt like the ass end was loose. Do I need a little more sway bar in the front? Do I
Yeah.
need a little more spring in the front? Do I need to loosen the sway bar in the back? What do I need to do to and then do something like that. Like come in, do a couple laps, and then take the rear sway bar, disconnect one side of the rear sway bar, and go around and do it again.
Yeah.
Feel the change. What changed? How did that change the way I drive the car? How did it feel?
Yeah.
And
Makes
just start
sense.
collecting some data in your head. And then if you're gonna, then you got to decide. You're clearly in a Miata of that era is going to be probably C stock if it hasn't changed.
Yeah.
Then you have to look at all the other cars in C stock. What can you change in a stock class? Shocks, tires. Right? You got to run a street tire, and you got to run any shock you want as long as it bolts up in the same spot.
Good.
Why are you putting an LS in the BMW?
To make it fun.
Okay.
To drive it every day and have fun while I drive.
Okay.
To have fun while I drive.
You don't want to race that? You don't want to autocross
No,
that?
I do. Absolutely.
All right.
But
Okay, but that's
going-
different. You autocross that car. You're autocrossing
Oh, no,
that
he's
car
not going to be in
X-Class
it.
just
all
for
day long.
fun
Yeah.
because
there's no way I'm going competitive with it.
Yeah, you would never compete because you're going to go into a mod class against guys with full built race cars. You're
Yeah.
going to get smoked.
Wild.
Yeah.
But you go do it for fun because it's fun.
And you're having fun.
But then you have the Miata running in C stock and you race that one for points.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I'm thinking is like if I can get my rocks off by doing some autocrossing in the Miata or doing some like competitive racing, I don't know. I think it'd be fun.
Well, and let's be honest too. That car being a free car, virtually free car, that car gets you autocross or race something, it is going to get thrashed.
Yeah.
You are going to thrash it.
And the thing was,
You're going
it
to
was
race that
free,
BMW at an autocross at probably a BMW event down there, which isn't
Yeah.
even an SCCA event.
No.
You're going to do a day with it down there, and you were like, I'm done.
I hear
Because you
too
do
many
that 2 or 3
creaks
more
and
times.
rattles and
Oh, you're gonna. It's amazing how quickly
yeah.
spirited driving wrecks cars.
I drove
fast.
2 of my cars on autocross for a fun day. It was BMW CCA.
Well, you took the M3 and what else?
I took the M3 twice and I took the E30 once.
Oh, man. I
And
forgot you did that.
The E30 hung in like a champ. That thing was solid, but
So
afterwards
you did good? You drove really fast and you got in a good place?
definitely
then?
not. No.
Oh, okay. Just
I was like dead last. There was some other piece of crap car that was right there, and he was doing like way better. Same, like E30. And I was so pissed. I was like, "What the hell, dude? Like, what am I doing wrong?" And it was just, I don't know. It was just slow. That's all it comes down to. It was my first ever autocross. So
Yeah.
I was just kind of cruising. It was weird because I drove that car on the street for 3 years before that, and until I did that event, I didn't know what that car was capable of at all. And I had decent tires on it. Like,
weren't those like heat cycled like 57 times?
no,
or-
that was on the Burgundy car.
Got
No,
it.
I had some. They were the Falcon Azenas. They're like that weird squiggly pattern tire. They're pretty
Yeah,
decent. Like they're a good like street/spirited driving tire, I would say. And it did phenomenal. Honestly, it was like after that I was like, I need to change rack and pinion. I need to do this. I need to do this. And I was like, oh man, I need more. So it was really bad. But luckily I only got away with only doing it once. And actually my buddy, they're all blowing up my phone right now because this year at Beamerfest, it's at California Speedway, and you can do what do they call it, the Roval, where you do like the inside course and then you do half the oval. And so they're like, who's bringing their cars, like who's running them on the track, and my buddy's going to be racing my old E30 around
That's a fun
California
track. I
Speedway.
got to run around on that thing. That's a fun day. out
Yeah.
there.
So if my LS was done, maybe I would do it. I don't know. It would be super freaking fun to
When's
just rip that thing.
Beamerfest?
That is May 27th and 28th.
You can be done by then.
I can.
You
I
should.
can, but
Now that you
registration's
know.
right now. So if I make it there and everything's good to go, maybe I'll just shell out the extra $80 or $100, however much it is.
Got it. If you had, like, what class, if you could put that Spitfire into any class that you wanted, what class would it be? Like,
Well-
if you had the ability and the money to change anything you wanted on that car?
Well, by the time I started driving in, like James was saying, a driver's class. By the time I got done at the end of, before we quit racing down there, we ran in a PAX class where you're just running with handicap times against other drivers. But I really do think that it would be rad to make that car into a prepared car, not a street prepared car. So my car right now, when we stopped racing, was in a street prepared class where it had to technically be a registerable, licensed, drive on the street car. So it has headlights, turn signals, windows that roll up, a windshield, all the business that makes a car street legal. But it's prepared, right? So there's a lot of openings in the rule book for souping it up. Well, the next class is now you get rid of the S for street prepared and you just go prepared. And I don't know what I would fall into. It doesn't translate exactly. I wouldn't go straight to F prepared. It might be something different. But I think that would be cool because I would sawzall the windshield off and I would gut the doors and I would take out the passenger seat and I would just make that thing a shell of a car
Yeah.
and just have it be basically a shifter cart is what it would end up becoming. It would just no dash, nothing. Which is essentially kind of like what Robbie does with his Lotus. He runs in a prepared class,
Essentially.
that's a little homage to Russo.
I like it.
So I think that I would enjoy. I never got to make a prepared car and race a prepared car
Yet.
I've done stock class. I've done the street prepared class, and then I did the PAX class with a street prepared car. So it's just the same as running street prepared. And then I ran a S. What was it called? SU class for a while. Where the only rule was you had to have street legal tires. That was it. DOT tires. That was the only rule in SU. That was kind of a weird class. It was a local only class at the time. I don't know if maybe it's a real class now, but I would really like to run a prepared class car. But I wouldn't do that to that car. I would pick a whole nother Spitfire.
I was about to say, would you do it to that Spitfire,
No.
another Spitfire, or a whole different chassis altogether?
No, I would use a Spitfire because I know him and I like him, and I would use a whole different car. I wouldn't chop this car up.
That one guy I was talking to up there, those are all race cars, man.
I know.
No titles, no nothing.
That'd be
race cars.
perfect.
We were looking at Spitfires because he kind of, they look
Bribed you?
exciting. Well, no, every time I drive that, I'm like, man, screw every other project I want. Like, Spitfires are rad.
Right?
So I want to
They're
put
fun.
that turbo motor in a Spitfire, but everybody, like, a few months ago when I was like, maybe I want a Spitfire, I don't know, all over the place, like, deals, waste your money, deals. So I was like, oh, man, this is really good. Now that I'm like, actually, well, maybe this is a good idea. Nothing.
Yeah.
$4,000, $5,000, like, garbage. And there's one guy up in Los Angeles, and he just has a couple of bodies with roll cages, like prepared class cars, with frame off chassis, like resprayed and everything. And they're nice cars, but they're just stripped, no motor, no trans, no nothing. But they're just.
What's
bodies
wrong
to
with that
start.
in your case, where you already have a motor and
You want
need to
something
get
you can
it
drive
fixed?
on the street.
They're not
You can't drive
registered.
those.
Oh,
Yeah, they're just gutted.
Gotcha.
But they're
Ghost cars, man.
yeah.
ghost
So
guns.
it would just be a pain to try to re-register that, and I got to put all the lights back in, and go and get it checked again.
Yeah.
So it's not worth it. But
yeah.
I'm
So you
still-
got to find a pre-smog
Yeah,
already
pre-smog
complete car.
And
They have
they're
the
out
title.
there. Just impatience is a killer.
Patience. All comes down to patience.
Yeah.
What goes around comes around, you know?
Anybody wants to trade a Spitfire for an Explorer, man? That's the real hint.
You get a good penny for that Explorer, I think.
Yeah. Well, I don't necessarily want to sell it, but it would be cool to. If somebody was like, "Hey, I got this Spitfire," I would.
Be a good trade.
Yeah.
I'll take a Spitfire. I need another one.
Somebody wanted to trade a Dodge Viper plus cash at me for my BMWs. I'm pretty sure it was a legit deal.
Dude, no,
Did you
yeah.
turn him down?
Oh man, yeah. I was like, you know what,
Those don't have traction control.
They're
You don't
too
want
much
them
for
anyways.
insurance.
dude. I'm like, parts are expensive. I
Do you
turned
tell
it
him
down.
first gen? Nobody ever buys first gen of anything.
Nah, man, that's not.
You got to get all the bugs worked out.
Yeah, man, everybody does that.
You mean like my Miata? That's it's like built in '89 and they didn't make them till '90.
Yeah.
Oh,
Serial
sick.
number 2.
Yeah, it's serial number like 4.
Sick.
It's cool.
Collector's item. Hey,
Yeah.
let's chop it up.
Yeah, I like people who say that, like, "Oh, I couldn't find any on Craigslist for sale, so obviously that means my car's rare. $11,000." Dude, that's a
What?
rusty old convertible Volkswagen. Like,
No,
what
it
the
means that they drive them till they're ready to go to the crusher.
Yeah, super rare.
Yeah.
What do you want to do? What do you want to race in? Do you want to autocross? You're going to be in
Rallycross.
mod class, obviously. But
Rallycross.
shut
Well,
up.
that's the other thing is like, I keep going back and forth because we've got this really rad motor set, right? It's really hard to get all the things together to put a 5-speed on the back of a 1UZ. It's kind of neat that we're 90% of the way there. I just need the throwout bearing, which isn't a big deal. But when I keep looking at racing classes, since the Celica in later years came with a 3S, there's like, you can put a black top beams in it, which is such a rad motor. It's a 2.0 that makes 210 horsepower. Like, how often can you get freaking like 99 horsepower a liter or like equal displacement to horsepower? Like, it's a very well built motor. It's like high compression. It's got titanium valves. It's a race motor. It's sweet. And if you put that in the Celica, then it actually makes it legal for a lot of classes through like the little update loophole where it's like, as long as the engine came in the chassis, and you're like, it did. It was just mounted transversely in front-wheel drive turbo applications, right, in the future. So I can backdate and do that, and that would be really neat. So I would really like to race that Celica in one of those classes just because I feel like it would be kind of like a little loophole advantage where it's like I have a really awesome race motor and it's rear-wheel drive and it's in this light, like small old Japanese coupe, and I think it would rip. But at the same time, then I just look at the power numbers, and it's a V8, and it's going to sound amazing, and it's going to be super torquey, and I'm just like, that sounds cool too. But realistically, I'm just all about rally. Everything I read is just like trying to get into the California Rally Series, and with this motor, you're going to be put into like the mod class CRS5 where you're racing with some big dogs, and I'm like, at that point, it would just be for fun, which, like, why not? You're just ripping a V8, like, rally car in the desert, just beating the crap out of it. Like, I don't care if I win. Like, let's slide this thing off a cliff.
I mean, I guess we shouldn't do that, but, that's up to you, man. It's up to you.
All my entire car driving experience has been based around plowing cars, just driving them as hard and fast as I can until I finally find the limit, and then I'm, like, sick. And hopefully, I mean, the
Hopefully
Celica,
you don't wreck it too bad finding it.
Yeah, I mean, I've put the Celica off the road 2 or 3 times pretty bad, and it just rolled right back out, and I got out of there. I slid it
Till
into
the
a wall
end.
on Cougar Pass,
Oh, yeah.
which was really fun and scary and fun. And then I over at Grapevine Canyon in Anza, I was getting that thing all kinds of sideways, and then finally like lost her in this really tight spot on Grapevine Canyon, and just put her up on a dirt freaking mound, like plowing stuff off, and I was like, oh no, we wrecked. And then I just like, it's all sand out there, so you just like back up and
dug
you're
it
like,
out.
we're good.
Get going again.
I did that twice, once with Jake and once with my buddy Kenny. So I definitely believe that you have
In
to
the same spot?
no different spots.
Oh, okay.
Same idea, though.
Never learn.
I definitely believe you have to be able to crash something to find the limit, which is really neat. I was actually reading a MotoGP article on like Marc Marquez and his team, and they were saying that like they wanted the people to crash the bikes at first because they're like, you have to find the limit of the bike. So like, go for it. Just push it until you low side and, fly off the track. And I'm like, yeah, pretty much. I mean, look, there's so many great racers who literally all they were known for was driving on the limit, like just screeching tire just a little bit, like always reeling her in. And
Oh yeah.
those are the fast dudes. I just watched one of Larry.
Enticer.
No, what's his last name? He's a really famous
Fitzgerald.
really
Oh.
famous Australian supercar racer. He got
yeah.
spun out. I've been on a ring of videos this week watching dudes like starting like first position, getting spun out, and then coming into the back of the track, right? And like 30th
Making their way all the way back up to
Oh
first.
my gosh, it is the best racing I've ever watched. Every video I watch, I'm just like, go, 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 go. It's awesome. But he did that on like a 6-hour endurance race, and freaking, their whole team was just like, at the beginning of the race, they're like, take it easy, it's a 6-hour race, we got to go. Then they, catch a flat tire when they touched with another racer, and then from then on, they were just like, who cares? Push it.
Yeah, you got to catch up.
Like just blow it up. Nobody, like, it's what you got to do. So,
and he did it.
He did it, and it's awesome. And I'm just like, I'm about that, man. I see some guys with some cool cars out there when they hit the track and stuff, and they're just. And I'm like, did you drive that thing to leisure? Like, cruise it around like Button Willow, you weirdo? Like,
Get on the gas.
yeah, man. Like,
Well, that's the other thing too. A lot of these guys got a lot of money wrapped up in, a car that maybe is their weekend driving car, and maybe they shouldn't be at the track because the track is where you wreck cars. Let's be honest.
yeah.
That's where
That's true.
That's why
you can really screw up at a track and destroy $100,000 Porsche and
Real quick.
ugh,
You
know,
watch
that's-
people on 4-lane freeways being stupid and correcting cars, and then you got a little tiny track over here where you're doing 120 miles an hour.
Yeah. I mean, it's good they're there learning.
Yeah, totally.
Chalk it up to learning.
But I've
Better
always
not tell
like,
people.
I was just thinking about this the other day driving the Beamer around. I'm like, the Beamer is like probably the most sporty, powerful car that I've ever had. And
That's weird.
I know, I own a lot of nice cars. But I won't, like, I'm afraid to like just go hog wild in it because I have a certain amount of money into it and I need to sell
it
it.
might blow up.
And
That's why you're afraid. Don't pretend like it's because I'm sensible with the throttle. No, it's because you don't want to blow it up. You want to sell it.
I don't want to slide it into a
I've
wall.
watched you
Yeah.
try to blow cars up. I watched you blow up a 22 RE. Come on,
I
man.
know. I'm the king.
You pushed that thing to its limits.
I nailed it.
Its limit was like 47 donuts in like a partially dry, muddy lot.
Yes.
I don't think I'd want to be James's crew chief.
Yes, you would. You'd love it. Come on, David.
A lot of work.
It'd be like it'd be like Days of Thunder. James's way, my way.
I haven't watched that movie in a minute.
That's a great movie.
Oh, it's
man.
so good. It's Top Gun for race cars.
That's right.
It totally is.
I teased my son that I named him after Cole Trickle. No, you didn't, Dad. My wife's like, no, we did not. And I'm like, Cole, we did, buddy.
You did.
You're
Sorry.
Cole Trickle.
I did at least.
That's your movie, buddy. That's your movie.
You're like, how about James? No, we really like Cole. I really, really like Cole just because of that guy.
I just can't wait till he's driving and I can yell, let me out of the car, Cole.
Speaking of racing, Long Beach Grand Prix this weekend too. Which
This
I guess
weekend?
which for the listeners is last weekend, so sorry. This weekend coming up.
So the 14th,
Tomorrow,
15th,
like
April, tax day.
Tomorrow, Saturday,
I don't know
and
why you're
Sunday.
bringing it up. You're trying to go jet ski race.
I'm going to the jet ski races instead. Screw going to the Grand Prix. They have a
Cool guy.
surf race for vintage jet skis. It's going to be freaking sweet.
Where at?
Sounds rad.
Right next to the Huntington Beach Pier, so you stand on the pier and watch these dudes just surf race.
You mean
Oh.
you got to get there early then,
That's cool.
Why?
so you can get spot on the pier?
Dude, everyone's going to be at the Long Beach Grand Prix. Nobody gives a shit about vintage jet ski racing.
Dude, vintage jet ski racing sounds rad. Watch people eat crap in the water, you know?
And then get pummeled by the surf. That's probably going to
Yeah.
be like 4 feet.
sounds rad. Win right now, I think in L.A., supposedly it was ridiculous. So
Really?
I'm guessing if it's coming in, then
Surf is going to be gnarly.
gnarly, man.
I'm down.
Also, just so you guys know, we carry Mishimoto now.
Oh, yeah, so there's some
So-
sort of like cooling device manufacturer. I don't know.
Not just for imports. So I bring it up because
They make Ranger radiators.
They make stuff for everything. We're getting a whole kit for the Jeep, the LJ, for the shop, and we're going to put it in and test it all out and see how much better it works than regular stuff. But imports, European Jeeps, all you JK guys
for the LS.
Yeah.
Is yours a direct replacement or how?
No, it was for an E36 like James's car.
Uh-huh.
But apparently it's the same size. You just have to make 2 mounts on the side.
Did you already do that?
No. Waiting.
Did you already do? No, I didn't.
I will eventually.
I will.
Yeah.
I got to start thinking about my exhaust.
Yeah.
Russo and the spiraling exhaust, endless loophole of exhaust thinking.
It's going to wreck me.
Think less, do more.
Yeah, there you go. What else? Okay, so you have your exhaust. You got to finish that. You got to mount the radiator. Do you have the hoses, or you still got to
No,
find the hoses?
I'm waiting for Dave to get the deal from Mishimoto.
Oh my god.
I'll get you guys a deal.
All
Okay.
right.
So
Give me the part
you
numbers.
got to find the hoses.
I did.
Oh, yeah, you gave me the list. He did give me the list.
What else after that?
Electrical, just got to, once I relocate the alternator, I got to change all the wiring for that. Which
So
is
you already
quite a
have
bit.
the wiring, but now you just got to extend it, move it.
I got to change stuff around.
Is everything already pre-wired, ready to get plugged in?
Everything is pre-wired, ready to
It's
plug
already
in.
loomed, like you could start it up.
No.
If you were to
If-
put
It's not loomed, but everything is ready to where if I plugged everything in, we're good to go.
so
We're starting.
what
So I'm
else do
waiting
we
for
have to
headers to go on, and then I could start the engine up for the first time, open headers, because that would be sweet. And that's it.
do?
And
That's
then,
it. So then you just got to make an exhaust, and then
So
there's
easy?
nothing else.
No, I got to finish fuel system. I got to make a line for the clutch.
What do you have to finish on the fuel system? We just talked about how you just finished your fuel system.
I didn't finish the fuel system. I just have
bought the
everything to
parts.
do the fuel system.
She goes out like to K1 Speed and
I went to
hangs
K1
out,
Speed the other
wastes
day. There was a
time.
troll little kid that was beating everybody.
You
He was
just
a
suck.
douche. No, I was doing pretty good.
Don't call
How
You
are
got
the new
beat by a
shifter
kid?
carts?
Yeah.
They're weird.
Oh, they're not cool.
They're cool, but
Well,
it'd be cooler if they were like gas and you could actually shift the gears in it.
is it not?
It just every gear. So we're talking about K1 Speed here, but they have new shifter carts at the Carlsbad location, and each gear just depends on how much power the motor gets. So first gear, the motor gets no power, then you shift, and all of a sudden it's like, whoa, we have more power now, and then you shift to third, and that's like the best. So
Gives you the feeling.
dude-
Why don't I
it
just
gives you
keep
the
it in
feeling
third?
that, and like the thing kicks, and it sounds like an F1 car. Apparently, finger quotes. You know, like that's the whole idea behind it. Is you hear the thing go. I don't know. It's weird. It's
So
really
did you
weird.
just keep it in third? And
You keep it in third, and then if you need to like slow down, you just go into second real quick, and then you go back into third.
Hmm.
So, it is
All right,
what
guys.
it is. It's fun.
Let's talk about something important.
Yeah.
We need to get together here at the shop. Car show, something.
Ooh.
That way
Oh,
people
yeah.
can come in. Everybody out there listening, if you live local, you can come in and you can look at all this crap that we're constantly talking about and see it for yourself. And also bring your car so we can see what you have, your four-wheel drive or whatever. I'm
Street
thinking
car.
June 9th,
June 9th.
awesome.
Saturday. It's a Saturday.
I like it.
Kind of a
Let's do it.
kickoff to summer, right? Welcome to summer. Come down to Benton Motorsports. We'll try to get a food truck out here. We'll get some music playing.
Food truck.
We did it 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
A couple of years
Oh, we
ago.
could have
years ago.
Casey out there if you want to buy some booze.
Yeah, we'll
Have
get Cal
the
Spirits
Cal
next door,
Spirits. Little
giving you a tour of the
tasting
distillery,
test.
tasting their booze. But I think we need to do that. I think that we should do it on a Saturday. I think June 9th is a good candidate. It's a good kickoff to the summer.
Yep.
And that way everybody can come down and see for themselves all the shenanigans.
I think that's a
Maybe
good
we'll
idea.
even set up the Xbox and have a little tournament in case anybody wants. We'll get a little driving wheel and everything and get people to drive simulated.
That'd be fun.
James is going down is all.
James,
I
I'll get a rally game for you.
I already have one. I'll bring it.
I already ordered it.
Oh, sick.
2 of them. Which one do you have?
Dirt Rally.
Dirt Rally?
Yeah.
Hang on. I ordered a bunch
Sounds
of games
lame.
for the kids. Let's see.
Did
Really?
you
You know,
really?
Their birthday's
Yes.
coming up or
Yeah, their
Sweet.
birthdays are coming up. So,
Their birthdays are right next to each other.
yeah, they're a few weeks apart. So it makes it
Sick.
decently fun.
So what? Let's get some comments. Should we post a photo and have people comment what they want to see at the car show, or is that too much? Are we just going to set it up and
That's a
hope people
James
go?
question. James is the
What do you guys?
The
What do you
man.
think
Well,
about
now
that?
that we're doing a car show, I guess we're gonna have to make promos for it.
We're
Some
gonna
other
have to
stuff.
make
That's right.
promos.
So I'll
We're
put
gonna
it.
have to tell people about it.
I'm making a media list right now.
All right.
We're gonna have to.
So I got one game ordered
Do
called Dirt.
We're gonna dirt.
Yes.
The first one.
That's one of them. And then I got
Dirt
one
1,
called
Dirt 2,
Dirt 3.
WRC 7.
Oh, I haven't
World
played
Rally
that one.
Cross. That's the 7th one.
And then I
It's
got
gotta be
another one.
good.
Oh, this is
Gotta be
motorcycles. This is like Monster Energy motorcycles or something. All right. Cool.
How to feel like a douche without being a douche. Monster Energy.
So that's good. Car show. We'll keep everybody posted. Go to follow us on our Facebook or Instagram and look for the what we call it? What'd you call it? Promos. So that you can find out when to come down and bring your car. It'll be a car show, so you bring your car and also look at what we got in the shop.
What about an articulation ramp? Is that a liability?
No, it's not. We may have one of those made by then, but we'll try to get it so that if you do have a 4-wheel drive, you can come see what your RTI number is. Is that what it is? RTI?
RTA.
That would be a rad little situation. So for all the off-road guys.
Should have a burnout contest.
We can have a contest to see who shows up more in force. Is it the off-road people that show up in force?
Land Rover guys or
Well,
Land
no.
Cruiser?
I mean like off-road
Or
or
street.
speed shop,
yeah,
right?
do
Just like
that.
our website.
Yeah.
How many off-road guys show up versus how many speed shop guys show up? Speed shop could be hot rods, imports, Euro, whatever. You know, if it's more of a speed shop related thing, and then there's the off-road guys.
I'm
Well,
cool
that's
with
one
that.
thing we can talk about. We finished.
If you drive like a Land Rover Discovery, you can park on either side.
Yeah, do whatever you want, man, because we know you're not going off road with that.
I think that'd be cool.
Oh,
was
if you
good
want
last year.
if you want a skid plate for your FJ80,
FJ80.
we just designed a couple of those. Those are pretty
Yeah,
cool.
for the Beach and Toys guys, the Land Cruiser Club in San Diego, we designed a skid plate for their FJ80s. So if you're interested in one of those, give us a call at the shop, and we can get you hooked up with one at a decent price. I think they're
beefy, real beefy.
$250 or something like that.
I think around there.
Yeah, they're pretty sweet. Any other new news, guys? Otherwise, we're going to wrap this baby early tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is news, or yeah, we're ready to wrap up.
No, let's wrap it up.
Jake,
Wrap it.
anything? Dave, anything? James, anything? Last call? Me? Nothing?
Follow us on Instagram. Keep looking for those promos. Later.
This has been the Bent Motorsports Podcast. Thanks for listening in. Be sure to give us a follow on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube at Bent Motorsports. Stay updated on the latest happenings, future projects, videos, and events here at the shop. Remember, guys, at Bent Motorsports, bids in stock, we've got it.